"That's better," cried the Abbé. "Now we are on the right scent. Did you take anybody with you when you put into the port of Elba?" "Nobody." "Somebody there received your packet and gave you a letter in place of it, I think." "Yes, the Grand Marshal did this." "And what did you do with that letter?" "I put it in my portfolio." "You had your portfolio with you, then?" Now, how could a sailor find room in his pocket for a portfolio large enough to contain an official letter? "You are right. It was left on board." "Then it was not till you returned to the ship that you put the letter in the portfolio?" "No." "And what did you do with the same letter while returning from Porto Ferrajo to the vessel?" "I carried it in my hand." "So that when you went aboard the Pharaon, everybody could see that you held a letter in your hand?" "Yes." "Danglars as well as the rest?" "Danglars as well as the others." "Now, listen to me, and try to recall every circumstance attending to your arrest. Do you recollect the words in which the information against you was formulated?" "Oh, yes. I read it over 3 times, and the words sank deeply into my memory." "Repeat it to me." Dante paused a minute, then said, "This is it, word for word. The king's attorney is informed by a friend of the throne and religion that one Edmond Dante, mate on board the Pharaon, this day arrived from Smyrna after having touched at Naples and Porto Ferrajo, has been entrusted by Marat with a packet for the usurper, again by the usurper with a letter for the Bonapartist club in Paris. This proof of his guilt may be procured by his immediate arrest, as the letter will be found either about his person, at his father's residence, or in his cabin aboard the Pharaon." Okay, just more continuation with this today of the Faria helping Dante sort out what has happened to him. I don't have actually that much to add to today's episode. I might keep this one short. However, just touching base on what we had spoken about previously about the way people learn, repetition and context, etc. What I find interesting here is that Faria isn't providing Dante the answers, partly because he doesn't have them himself, but he might arrive at a suspicion before Dante does. But what he's doing is having Dante himself arrive at the conclusion by putting the pieces together. He's kind of helping usher him in the direction of, okay, start thinking in these terms. Who's going to benefit from your downfall in this regard? Who would this be advantageous to? What were the details that surround that? So he helped him arrive at Danglars, and now he's helping him search his memory for details of supporting evidence that could be true. I mean, this is basic reasoning stuff. And it does feel like Faria is very subtly helping and teaching Dante to think in new ways. And there's a sort of suspense here that I think, it's called dramatic irony, where we as the readers have information that the main character doesn't. So when Faria, who doesn't know all the details of the situation until Dante tells him, asks a follow-up after Dante says Danglars, is it Danglars as well as others, maybe? Are there other people that could be part of this? And we, as readers, know, oh, well, there's, Cadrus, there's Fernand, there's Villefort, all these people that we have to worry about. Dante hasn't arrived at those conclusions yet, but we know that. And so there's this kind of suspense of waiting for Dante to realize it all so that we can live with him as he experiences the revelation. We're not quite there yet, but we'll get there. And the last thing that I'll just kind of add here as a film nerd, in addition to being a book nerd, this letter, the packet, all of the stuff, right? The things that got Dante imprisoned is what Hitchcock would have called a MacGuffin. These are ultimately not important to the narrative that's being told, the arcs that are happening, but they are the letters, the packet are the insignificant things that unlock the rest of the story. The microfilm in North by Northwest, the bottle of wine in Notorious. In a vacuum, they themselves are not the story, but they lead the characters to act in a way that unlocks the rest of the story. So I just wanted to point out, maybe Hitchcock was a fan of Dumas and this novel. I don't have any information on that, so I'm not going to speculate further. But I wanted to point it out. Okay, I'm going to keep this one short. That's all I've got for today. Join me here tomorrow for a little bit more of The Count of Monte Cristo. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.